Basal metabolic rate, or BMR, is a measure of your resting burn rate. So the number of calories you burn in a day, not taking into account additional exercise or any other.
Alive, growing, and changing all the time. The constant process of bones growing and changing is known as bone remodeling. This process is carried out by specific cells in our bones. Cells called osteoclasts have the role of breaking down our bone and removing any parts that need replacing. At the same time, cells called osteoblasts have the job of making new bone and helping to repair any parts of the bone that have been damaged. On Earth, in healthy individuals, this process is normally balanced so that the same amount of bone is made and broken down. The result is an imbalance in bone remodeling, which leads to an overall decrease in bone mineral density.
Human body is known to contain 70% of water. If we take the average weight of a person for 70 kilograms, that contains 49 kilograms of water.
Muscles. We have over 600 of them. They make up between 1/3 and 1/2 of our body weight. And along with connective tissue, they bind us together, hold us up, and help us move. Since our bodies have already adapted to most everyday activities, those generally don't produce enough stress to stimulate new muscle growth. So to build new muscle, a process called hypertrophy, our cells need to be exposed to higher workloads than they are used to. In fact, if you don't continuously expose your muscles to some resistance, they will shrink, a process known as muscular atrophy. In contrast, exposing the muscle to a high degree of tension, especially while the muscle is lengthening, also called an eccentric contraction, generates effective conditions for new growth. However, muscles rely on more than just activity to grow. Without proper nutrition, hormones, and rest, your body would never be able to repair damaged muscle fibers. Protein in our diet preserves muscle mass by providing the building blocks for new tissue in the form of amino acids. Adequate body responds to the demands you place on it. If you tear your muscles up, eat right, rest, and repeat, you'll create the conditions to make your muscles as big and strong as possible.
Too many calories and a drop in metabolic rate can be a lethal combination. Fat is much more than an extra inch on our waistline. It spreads throughout the entire body. The intestines are smothered in yellow fat deposits. Fat finds its way into almost every available space of our bodies, even inside our blood vessels. Deposits build up on the inner walls, narrowing the tube. The heart has to work harder to pump blood through the restricted vessels. In extreme cases, fat can block the vessels completely. If fat blocks the arteries that supply the heart, the result can be fatal. The heart muscles are deprived of oxygen and nutrients. The muscle risks going into spasm, a heart attack.
And I want to talk to everyone a little bit about what's happening inside your abdomen and why having a lean belly is such a key to good health. So you're walking around with too much abdominal fat. This fat you're looking at is visceral fat. It doesn't just sit there. It truly is toxic goop encircling all of your organs. It's increasing inflammation. It actually secretes chemicals that increase inflammation throughout your body. But it also affects your cardiovascular system. It increases, over time, your blood pressure, amongst other things. And as all these parameters are changing, your abdomen, that visceral belly fat, is doing other things. It's increasing production of something called interleukin-6. This chemical further increases inflammation throughout your body. And as this happens, something else really interesting is occurring. Your metabolism is being governed by this excess body fat. Adiponectin is affected. And what does it do when you don't have enough of it? It tells you to store more belly fat. So it's a vicious cycle to poor health. Your liver is overwhelmed with cholesterol. Well, what does that lead to? Plaque buildup in your arteries. And when you get plaque buildup, what happens next? Oftentimes, I see you in the ER, fatal heart attack, and everyone always says, what could I have done differently? Well, the answer is right here now, you've got to target excess belly fat. Belly fat leads to heart disease, cancer, stroke, arthritis, type 2 diabetes, even sexual dysfunction. And I don't want everyone to have to deal with that. Well, what happens if you actually get rid of belly fat and develop a leaner belly? You know what? Studies show you'll actually be smarter. You'll sleep better. Sounds good to me. You'll have a healthier heart. Better sex. They look pretty happy, don't they? Even more money. Less money spent on medical bills, more money to travel the world. Sounds pretty good, right?